Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Au Pair Freedom. In this episode, we're going to discuss the history of au pairing as it began in Europe. And this is all, again, to answer the question, how does gendered work impact international flows of labor and exchange? So the phenomenon of au pair placement began in Switzerland during the 19th century. And this was a process in which acquainted families made arrangements on a mutual and friendly footing. After World War II, young women perceived au pair placement as a chance to both go abroad to learn a new language, as well as to experience a new culture. The original exchange was that host families treat au pairs as family members and provide them with room and board, and in return, au pairs provide childcare and do light housework. The thought process behind the original arrangement was that staying with host families provides protection for au pairs, allows them to learn a new foreign language, and lets them learn household skills. The Council of Europe viewed the temporary migration of young European au pairs as a unique social phenomenon that required both regulation and protection. And this was going to be done by European authorities to protect them against human trafficking and exploitation. The Council of Europe aimed to protect and regulate au pairs in a way that provided them with better experiences during the placement period. European countries acknowledged that there was a growing need for an international regulation that guaranteed protections for au pairs. The Council of Europe ratified the European Agreement on Au Pair Placement on November 24, 1969, and it was put to force on May 30, 1971. The Au Pair Agreement on Au Pair Placement consists of 22 articles outlining a model contract for au pairs. The European Au Pair Placement was meant to serve as a rubric for cultural exchange rather than for employment. The preamble of the agreement considers au pairs to belong to a special category that has both features of the student category and features of the worker category. The special category label allows host countries to create unique measures for au pairs and to promote the cultural exchange angle in return for childcare and light domestic work, which are considered a sharing in the life of the receiving family under Article 7 of the agreement. Article 8, Sections 2 and 3 stipulate that au pairs should have ample time to attend language courses for professional and cultural improvement and 1 free day per week. Section 4 points out that the financial compensation that an au pair receives is pocket money and not a salary for the daily work that an au pair completes. The reason being that au pairs are seen as temporary guests, so host families, and temporary migrants to the recipient countries. Article 9 points out that the daily family duties that au pairs complete should never exceed 5 hours daily. However, the revision by the European Council included that au pairs are subject to housework, cooking, and overnight childcare as well. The extra duties in the revision did not allow the daily maximum amount of 5 hours to remain in place, and the lack of definition when subjecting au pairs to housework creates ambiguity between the au pair and the host family, because the au pair standard contract puts au pairs in a weak position to discuss and bargain about their duties. The au pair and the host family are not on equal terms because the au pair can be cast out by the host family, and this has led to justification for rights protection against overwork. The intention of the Council of Europe to use the term pocket money, quote unquote, stems from the avoidance of considering the paid amount as a salary for an au pair's work. That hourly amount changes depending on the country, and by the written agreement between au pairs and host families under Article 6. Against Article 6, au pairs and host families settle verbal work agreements for extra time and domestic services in many cases. The extra work is seen as overtime money, allowing au pairs to gain a sense of assurance that they will not be ousted by the host family for discontent. Au pairs from the global south may spend a lot of money in the migration process to the host country. Therefore, early termination before breaking even leaves au pairs in a desperate situation. The aspect of cultural exchange has vanished since the creation of the European Agreement on Au Pair Placement. The new system of exchange, due to regulation and the globalization of labor, relies primarily on women from the global south to work as au pairs in the global north. The reason for the new system of exchange is because there is a copious reserve of labor in the global south and a high demand for affordable domestic work in the global north. The agreement no longer is able to protect au pairs because the present realities have rendered its provisions obsolete. Au pairs have become precarious because they are socially constructed as cultural exchange participants rather than workers. The European Parliament acknowledges this problem in its recognition of au pairs as a group of domestic workers who are often not regarded as regular workers. The inconsistencies in its recognition creates a challenge to to protecting au pairs against labor exploitations. The ambiguity around the term au pair placement has been recognized internationally as an exchange in which young women are employed as in-house domestic workers at a lower cost than what is required to employ migrant workers. Thank you for joining me on episode 2. In episode 3, we will discuss cases of au pair placement law in Europe and in specific countries divided between the United Kingdom, the Nordic countries, and other countries in Europe as well.